The 417 Gamers is a group of board, tabletop, and card gamers in the 417 area code. This is the podcast. Welcome to the 417 Gamer Podcast, episode 61, the one with second edition. In the 4, Andrea and I talk about 4 games that we've been enjoying lately. We talk about Temby, Survival of the Fattest, DC Breakout Arkham Asylum, and Ohanami. In the 1 topic of the show, we talk about second edition games, sequels, and games that have multiple versions. And in the 7, we talk about 7 of our favorite second edition games, quote unquote. Without further ado, the 417 Gamer Podcast. Welcome to the 417 Gamer Podcast. My name is Rick.
And I'm Andrea.
In the 4, we like to talk about 4 games that we've been playing recently. You know, whenever we go to our game nights, we'd love to play our games, but it is absolutely good manners to play the games of others. And while we've been going through our alphabet collection, we have 2, because I'm crazy and I did 2 challenges. We're doing an alphabet challenge at our friendly local game store, Metagames Unlimited, and we're doing one here at the house. At the house, we're still stuck on K because we've been playing with friends.
We have.
At Metagames, we're all the way to Q coming up. However, one of our friends, he sat through 2 of our games. I think it was like L and M. I don't remember what games we got played. Anyway, no, he stuck through N as in Nancy and O because he played a game we're going to talk about here in just a second.
And L, London.
He didn't send through L.
Oh, that's right.
Ethan taught us the L, London. Anyway, to talk about what we played with him, it was called Survival of the Fattest. This is designed by Lee Smith, and he apparently is credited with the art. The publisher is Dirty Rascal Games. Survival of the Fattest is a deck building game where your critters getting trying to just scarf all the food down that you can and hide some of it away for the winter, because that's how you survive the winter, is you bulk up.
And each faction of species has their own special power.
Yeah.
Like the otter can go to the Riverlands multiple times, where others have to rotate where they go each turn.
Yeah, so you have a little worker, your character, whether it's a squirrel or rabbit or elk. You said an otter, there's a bear. On your turn, you're going to have a hand of cards, deck builder style, and you're also going to have a character, and you send your character to different little places. Sometimes it's in the market, so you can get some extra, basically recipe cards, some things that you're trying to satisfy. Or you might go to an area to forage to grab more cards to build your deck better. But you go to a place, you have to provide your forage cards that give people different... Whoever plays the highest card gets to go first. And then when you go to the forage area, if you're multiple people in a foraging area, whoever has played the most foraging cards, I think it was?
The highest number.
The highest number? That person goes before, has priorities. If there's a tie, then it goes to whoever has the biggest base.
Of the meeple.
Of the character, yeah. Your big bear will go before little squirrel, and I thought it was cute.
Yeah, we liked it.
We did like it. And I'm happy that Miles taught us this game, because he sat through a couple of ours, and I think this was a Kickstarter game. He said he had both cardboard standees, and he had the resin plastic. Either resin or plastic, I can't remember. Anyway, they had the plastic minis. That was easier to tell who had the bigger size, because the base on the plastic minis was round and you could just mash them up.
The cardboard characters looked good, but the resin minis, they looked really good.
Yeah, because on the cardboard, there were some poses on some of the animal characters that were like, I think the otter had the legs spread out in a dramatic pose, where it looked like it had a bigger base than like the elk, but it honestly wasn't a bigger character, so Tiebreaker was a little bit harder to figure that out. So, while we said that we played his Survival of the Fattest, we played the letter O game, which we played
Ohanami.
Ohanami is one of my favorite drafting games, especially light games to play with people. Go ahead.
This has been a regular in our collection for a while. For years, we've been playing this game.
We absolutely have. This is published by Pandasaurus Games. The designer is Stefan Bendorf, and the artist is Christian Opperer. In Ohanami, you're building a Zen garden. You're trying to build water features, plant life, stone features, and some cherry blossom trees. There's going to be 3 rounds, and you draft cards, and you have basically, if you've ever played The Mind or The Game or several different games where you have to play to a tableau and play cards in order. In this, all the cards are numbered, I think, 1 through 120. And after you draft 2 cards, and you'll pass your hand to the next player. Everybody will do this simultaneously like any other drafting game. Then everybody flips over and they play their cards out. Now, you can play 3 different tableau spots, and that is 3 different gardens you're building. Once you play a card, now you can play cards above or below, but never in between. So if I play a 56 stone feature, and then I play a 62 grass feature on top of that, because you kind of either tuck or play on top. That way you have the numbers visible, whether you're going up or down. But if I played the 55 and the 62, if on another hand I get the 59, I can't play it in the middle. If I wanted to play that 59, I would have to play it in a different garden.
Right.
Early in the game, you might be tempted to chuck cards, because you're going to draft 2 cards. You can either put them in your gardens, or you can discard them out of the game face down. You never have to put it in there, but you might as well if you can. But at the end of round 1, you score all your plant life. At the end of round 2, you're going to score your plant life again and water features. And then at the end of the game, you're going to score plant life again, water features again, stone features, and then you're going to count all your cherry blossom trees. And cherry blossom trees take a while to get decent points, but if you can get a whole bunch, it goes up exponentially. And once you hit like 12 plus cherry blossom trees, the points are very nice. But this is very light drafting game. I highly recommend it. It's a little card game. Goes really good in a travel, if you have one of those travel sleeves of cards. If you like your drafting games, I think it's great. Another game we played. So we liked Magical Athlete quite a bit. But right now it's a little tough to get your hands on.
It is.
Now, our friendly local game store, Metagames, came back from Gamma, and they threw a couple of the games at me and said, hey, we don't have, they have a whole bunch of stuff going on. They have some big Magic events. They have some big Warhammer events. And like, hey, would you mind playing these? Tell me what you think, and see if, is this something we need to bring in the store? So we played the DC Breakout Arkham Asylum, and it plays very similar to Magical Athlete.
I would say it's the same game with just a different skin.
Yeah. Different skin, but you get 2 powers instead of 1.
It's true.
So Magical Athlete, you're going to play 4 races. You're going to draft 4 racers, and you get to do just 1 racer in each of the 4 races. In DC Arkham Asylum, what you're going to do instead... just jumped out of that. That's no bueno. DC...
That's okay. I know a good editor who can take that out.
Yeah, well... I hope we can find that person. So DC Breakout Arkham Asylum, you're going to be given 5 villains, and there's going to be 2 races. In the first race, you're going to pick your 2 pair of villains that are all going... You and your opponents are going to try and break into the armory to get some cool gadgets to get set up, so you can then, on the second race, break out of Arkham Asylum. So out of the 5 villains you've got, you're going to be using 4 of them, in theory. all of the usual rogues galleries are there. Joker's there, Penguin's there, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Riddler, and then you have a whole bunch of lesser known and kind of B and C tier villains, but they're funny and I'm glad they're there, like Condiment King, Man Bat, Kite Man. I enjoyed seeing how many different characters they put in there. This is designed by Jeffrey, Brian, and Sydney Engelstein. The artist is Ryan Goldsberry, and this is published by WizKids Games. So if you really like Magical Athlete and you just can't find it in print, keep an eye out on your friendly local game store, because DC Breakout Arkham Asylum, I think it's right in there in that $30 to $40 price point.
Yeah.
It's got theme to it. It's got characters everybody knows. I think it's...
The powers match the characters.
Yeah. The powers are fun, and you have 2 powers. Now, it does have the same thing that Magical Athlete, that you might have 2 powers that kind of butt heads, and you have to figure out who supersedes what. But got a little fun take that I don't think is too mean. And it has just 2 races, where Magical Athlete, you have to go through 4. And if you've just been getting your butt kicked in the first 3, you might be kind of, you're ready for the game to be over and not even want to do the 4th race. With DC Breakout, even if you come in last on that first race, because you might have such powerful villains that you've held on to for the 2nd race to break out of Arkham Asylum, no worries.
Yeah, it's not over.
No, it is not over. Last but not least, we played a very nice, I would call it a very cozy game. It is, if I'm not mistaken, it's based on a Welsh village, a seaside town in Great Britain. This is Tenby, Tnby. This was, I think it was somebody's surprise or Dark Horse Games of the Year for 2025. And I was like, okay, I put it on my radar because you and I, we love our cozy games here and there.
We do.
We absolutely like playing the mean and the dry Euros with our friends. But when you and I sit down for games on Sundays, we like our competitive games, but we also like something that's just like a palate cleanser from the week.
Yeah.
No
stress, no fighting, just trying to build my little village.
Exactly. So Temby is designed by Benji Talbot. He's also the artist. And the publisher is Cozy Cub Games. So Go figure that a cozy game was made by Cozy Cub Games. This is a drafting game. You're going to have basically 3 markets in front of you. You're going to have like buildings. You're going to have port adjacent buildings. And then you have landmarks. The landmarks will help you get end of game scoring. You can put 1 on each street that you build. The buildings you put on your streets, and you can build as many streets as you want. But once you put on a building, you can build to the left or the right. Now, there is powers that might be able to let you move some buildings around. But in general, once you placed a building, you can't build between them. You have to build to the left or right. And eventually you can, quote-unquote, complete a street. And when you do that, there are some kind of generic at the top of the market. There's like an end-of-street building, and then there's an end-of-street pier. When you build that end-of-street, that helps your end-of-game scoring whenever you get, I think they're just called citizen cards. When you draft, you're going to pick turn order, and when you pick the turn order, it dictates what you get to do on your turn. Which one card will say you get a citizen and a building card. Mm-hmm. This one will say you'll get a landmark and some life rings. Life rings just look like the little lifesaver buoys that you throw out if somebody's drowning. But those little lifesaver buoys, you can cash them in for either refreshing the market to give you more cards. You can, if you have enough, take an extra action. Or get extra landmarks or more citizens to come into your village for higher scoring. Not super complicated. Very fun. Absolutely want to play it with some of our other friends that really like their cozy games.
Yeah, because we've only played it at 2.
Right. I do know that... Actually, I don't know that. I would think that there's some friends of ours that like to play more competitive and heated games. Just a knee-jerk reaction, I'm saying, I don't think that they would love this game, but I don't know, because every now and again, a game just plays so well that you just go along with the cozy game and you enjoy it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the 4 and the 417Gamer podcast. You want to go on the topic of the week?
We need to.
All right, let's do that. MoonCityCon badges are on sale right now. MoonCityCon 2026 takes place at the Hilton Garden Inn August 14th through the 16th. Badges are the same price they were last year. We know prices are going up for everybody. That sucks. So, we are keeping the $60 price point that we had last year. And because the Hilton Garden Inn are such great hosts, they're keeping our discounted room rate the same from last year. So if you're going to stay on site, go head over there, click the tab on our MoonCityCon.com page. Go there and get your rooms sooner than later. And I think the room rates are good until July, so get your rooms soon. This year, we're going to be partnering with the Boys and Girls Club. Fantastic charity. We can't wait to see what our partnership is going to lead to. While you're getting your badge, we have a scholarship badge. Every dollar you donate, we match dollar for dollar to give a badge to some of the kids at the Boys and Girls Club. Have them come out, play some games, teach them up, have a great time. MoonCityCon, all of the things you can expect. Tournaments, prizes, play-to-wins, great vendors, great people. Come on out, MoonCityCon.com to get your badges. We'll see you at the Hilton Garden Inn August 14th through the 16th. MoonCityCon, a meeple among us. The one topic of the show we're talking about is second editions, sequels, and different versions. So, just to give an example, actually, what put this on my radar is my favorite game, Concordia, is getting a collector's edition from Awakened Realms that is supposed to redo the artwork. It's supposed to give really nice resources, which I already have upgraded resources. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to do really nice metal coins, which I already have metal coins. It's also supposed to have like an AR, augmented reality way to play the game. And I don't know that I care about that. But I'm waiting for the art to come out. I'm waiting to see what the upgraded pieces are. Because I am a sucker for upgrading my game. I mean, I've spent a lot of money on my Concordia. And now they got a second edition. And do I need it? No. Am I going to want it? I don't know. But I also looked in our collection. We have quite a few games where we've gotten a second edition. Now, some of them we just have the second edition, but some of them we've upgraded. Mm-hmm. One that will be on the list, I'll just go ahead and spoil our top 7, because our top 7 is just second or next editions of games. Twilight Imperium 4. I've played Twilight Imperium 2. I had Twilight Imperium 3. And I now have Twilight Imperium 4 and all of its expansions. Same with that. I put extra dice in there, so every faction has its own dice color. I sleeved cards. I have containers in there to contain all the factions separately and all the player pieces. So I like to spruce up my games. That's why when this Concordia is coming out, I also know how expensive Awakened Realms Kickstarter, second and collector editions can be. My wallet's already crying. So, like, do I give in to the sweet, or do I just go on with what I've already got? Because you can't play everything, and I already play my Concordia probably anywhere from 5 to 15 times a year. And I still enjoy the crap out of it. So, we're talking about second editions. We're also talking about sequels. One game, like, I would consider... Well, I guess it'd be a different version. So Marvel Splendor. We love Marvel Splendor. We like it. We like it better than Splendor. We also have the imported Pokemon Splendor that we still haven't gotten played, but we need to. We have both the Point Salad, and then we have the Poke, or the Eevee Point Salad, which I think we played that the one time. but we
I think
couldn't read Korean.
I was supposed to say,
so
we would play it more, but the cards have printed text that you have to look up.
Yeah. And we played through it the one time, and we liked it, and we're like, I wanted to sleeve the cards and then put the translations in their sleeves, and then I just never got around to doing it. I should. If we would do that, I think we would play it more.
Yeah, we would play it all the time.
So, looking at the games we have multiple copies of, it's quite a bit. Let me see, because we do the questions of the month in the 417Gamer podcast, and that was... So, we're going to answer a couple of those questions, one of which is, how many games do you have multiple copies of? And it's quite a bit.
More than I thought, honestly.
Where am I? Okay. So Patchwork, we have about 7 or 8 different copies. We have Patchwork Americana, we have the Halloween edition, we have the Korean folklore, we have the Viking folklore, and we have 6. I don't remember what the 6th one was. It's not Valentine's Day, because at that point, we played the crap out of Patchwork. And we pull it out probably a couple times a year, but not to the extent we used to. Kemet. Kemet is my favorite dudes on a map game, and I haven't played it in a year. But they came out with Blood on the Sand, which changed the end game a little bit. It added another pyramid power, because in the very first Kemet, there was red, white, and blue. Red was attack, blue was defense, and white was economy. Then they added a black pyramid into the expansion, which added... Black had to do with death and resurrection. So it kind of dealt with... It was in place of any of the red, white, blues, because it had a little bit powers to do with each one. So you could forego one of those to really go in... if you didn't do the blue defense... You bring in the black pyramids, and you'd have a little extra red to go after, some white and some blue. Or vice versa, The Blood on the Sand brought in a green pyramid, which had some interesting stuff, too. And the other thing about Kemet, it's not only just dudes on a map, but you also have these monsters that you can buy, which have to do with your different colors of pyramids. And putting a giant scorpion on the map with your little dudes as you go attack your friends/enemies is always just sweet. Unmatched. We have several different versions of Unmatched. We have both of the Jurassic Parks. We have all but one of the Marvels. We have the Legends Volume 1. We have Cobble and Fog. And at a certain point, we weren't playing it besides just the couple we really liked.
Yeah.
We like Engine versus Raptors a lot. We like T-Rex versus Sattler a lot. We played... Which one of the Marvels did you and I play? Was it Ghost Rider and Blade?
Yes, it was, actually.
I think it was something like that. And we played that, and we were like, that's awesome. And then I ended up playing the other one that had Luke Cage in some of them. And I think it was Bullseye and Elektra or something like that. Enjoyed that. We also got the Teen Spirit that has Squirrel Girl, Cloak and Dagger, and a third. The only one we're missing that I really, really want is the one with Spider-Man, She-Hulk, and a third. Anyway, we like Unmatched. We have several versions, but the ones that we don't have, I think we're actually going to get rid of.
Yeah, at first we were like, we're going to get all of them. And then it became like the little pop figures where you're like, I don't need any more of these.
Yeah, and we thought the Funko game, we have versions of that too. We thought it was cute.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, it's funny to have Joker, Batman, Harley Quinn, and then the Golden Girls all fighting one another. But after you've done it a time or two, the nostalgia kind of wears off, and you're like...
Yeah.
The game's fine. And it's fun whenever you're playing with somebody that's never played it before. Throwing that to them. But once you're in a regular game group, you've kind of... I don't find the Funko games deep enough for me to keep on playing them over and over.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd rather just take the Funko Pops out and just put them on my desk at work. Pitch Car. I love Pitch Car, and it's technically a second edition. The first one is Carabande that came out in the early 90s, I think it is. And Pitch Car is a continuation, more or less. The puzzle pieces are in a different spot of the the tracks that you put together, so you can't cross them over unless you found somebody that did woodworking and could make the translation or do a 3D print.
Yeah.
Ticket to Ride. There's so many different versions of Ticket to Ride. You have the big box version, and you have the Europe and the Africa and the Asia. Then they made their small box version, the cities. And we have 4 or 5 of those. We have New York, France, San Francisco, Amsterdam, and I think we got the last one for the 5th one too. And we like those.
And they're all just a little bit different with a little bit different powers for scoring and such. Enough to make it interesting.
And then just looking at games that we have multiple copies of. I have 3 different copies of Concordia. I have my regular Concordia that's completely pimped out that stays home or maybe goes to the game store. Then I have a copy of Concordia Venus that I lend out to the MoonCityCon. It is stickered and it still has metal money coins. Just whatever. And then at one of the MoonCityCons, one of the sets of cards for the player colors didn't come back complete. So I found one used for a decent price, and I got a 3rd copy to triage the copy I lend out. Because I play Concordia usually about every year once at MoonCityCon, and I've championed it so much in the group that a lot of people know it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So sometimes people get their yearly play of Concordia either against me or sometime at MoonCityCon. So we have several games that we have multiple copies, and I haven't touched on all of them, but, that was off the top of my head. So we probably have 10, 20 different games that we have multiple copies of and second editions.
At least.
And then your different versions. Star Realms versus Star Trek Star Realms. Now, Star Realms has more expansions and more content to it, but what I like about Star Realms is playing with new people, because I generally don't care for deck building games, or I didn't like the classic version of deck building. I don't like Dominion because it feels like 2 to 4 player solitaire.
Yeah.
Now, once Dominion got some expansions to where you could kind of interact with your opponents a little bit more, I'm softer on that. But it took a while for me to play some of that. But I play so many other games where I do my turn and it has no bearing on you. And you do your turn and it has little to no bearing on me. And we keep on going until one of the piles is gone, and then we count up points. And I think that sucks. Star Realms, I'm attacking you. And you have those alignment factions. You have red, green, yellow, and blue. Green is attacky. Red is thinning out your deck and making it more efficient. Blue tends to be money and getting some health back. And then yellow is about drawing more cards or making your opponent discard cards. Now, they all kind of do a little bit of everything, but they kind of have that one that they really, really focus on. Star Trek Star Realms does the same thing, but now when I'm playing with new players, especially when they're Trekkies, reading the cards like, oh, this is this ship, this is the Bird of Prey, this is the
Enterprise, it's the Enterprise.
Yeah, Enterprise D. I'm like, okay, what's the Enterprise D versus well, see, on this show, blah, 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 and then they had to get Enterprise D, blah, 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 blah. And it's one of those things, watching somebody nerd out on something that they like, especially when it's your friends.
Yeah.
It's fun to see them smile and enjoy a game with you and really get into it because of what's in front of them. So, yeah. Blah, 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 blah. So much stuff. So, thinking about games that have been updated that I think they're inferior to the original, there's a few, but there's only a few. Like, one off the top of my head is going to be Waterfall Park to Chinatown. Now, Chinatown, I absolutely understand, has that racial connotation. And some people don't feel comfortable playing it. And I understand the theme, but I don't really think of the theme as much as it's a great negotiation game. Chinatown, you're going to be giving lots of properties, and you're going to be given plans for buildings to go out.
Yeah.
And they are very much racially themed. There's laundromats, there's Chinese restaurants, there's...
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of not the most culturally sensitive game.
Yeah, it's not very politically correct.
But Waterfall Park takes that off and sets it to where you're buying lots in a waterfall park. And it's not as fun, and it's not because of the theme. It takes it from 5 rounds to 4 rounds, and I don't know. It makes sense to me that you have lots of property in San Francisco or wherever, you know, whatever generic Chinatown you're set in. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't necessarily have to be Chinatown. It could just be oil-filled lots. It could be, we talked about this on a walk, that I had an idea you could do back lots at like a
movie studio.
At a movie studio.
Yeah.
Where an action movie needs 5 lots. Or just a commercial would need just one small backlot. Mm-hmm. In my head, that makes sense, and that would play out too. But Chinatown, not necessarily for its theme, but because the way the mechanics integrate, I guess, to the theme, but not because of the Chinatown necessarily, but because it's property and building, it just plays better. Mm-hmm. Another one is Battlestar Galactica, which I don't think you've played yet.
I have not, no.
Battlestar Galactica is a longer social deduction. It's a semi-cooperative game where you're trying to beat all the bads, but then you might have some people that are assimilated to the Cylons that are trying to thwart your attempts to win. It's a very fun game, and Asmodee made a new version of it called Unfathomable, where you're on a big ship and Cthulhu has corrupted some people. In theory, it plays just fine. But that is one where the theme does matter, and the people that really love the theme of Battlestar Galactica really get into the game. And because they get into it, it gets me into the game.
Right.
Whereas Cthulhu's Cthulhu, and it's an interesting theme, but whenever you're trying to get people off the boat because they might be Cthulhu'd, it doesn't have as much weight as whenever, you know, you have a bad faction that needs to be airlocked and whisked out of the shuttle before they, you know, get you taken over. And then the last question of the 417Gamer group at the end of the month is there a game in your collection that you would repurchase if the art and the mechanics were updated? And I was thinking, if Lorenzo Il Magnifico had better components and better monies and a bigger board. That board is kind of scrunched for the space where you flip out the cars and all that stuff.
Yeah, it is.
I would probably buy an updated version. And then we're talking about Concordia. That honestly, if I could kickstart the Awakened Realms, if they did acrylic tiles for the little bonus goods and for the town tiles, where you find out what each town produces, if I could just get those, I'd kickstart it and just get those pieces. But who knows?
It could happen.
It could happen. As of right now, they've said that, you know, they're going to update the art. There's going to be nice pieces. And that they're using AI to do previews. But whenever they do the actual board art, card art, they're going to use, actual artists. Because people were kind of concerned because their preview ad campaign to get everybody ready for this Kickstarter, you got some people kind of on edge because there was a lot of AI. People were like, are you guys going to use AI? Because there's been a lot of backlash in the board game community because we like our designers and we like our publishers and we like our artists. And whenever you're trying to freeze, it feels like you're trying to freeze out some of the industry. A lot of people start banding together and, whenever you go to a Gen Con, whenever you go to these conventions, you can meet the publishers and the designers and the artists. And you get to play games with them. And then you have a camaraderie. And these people often pop on Board Game Geek or on the videos that you watch on your YouTube channels. And you not friendship, but you get a camaraderie behind that person.
And it fuels your passion.
It does. It really does. So, what are your thoughts on second editions, new versions, and sequels? If you have any other comments that we may have missed, go over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. Or if you're listening on YouTube, leave some comments below. But why don't we talk about 7 of our favorite second edition games, Andrea?
Let's do it. We're ready.
You're listening to the 417 Gamer podcast. There are multiple ways to catch the show. We are hosted by Libsyn, so you can catch us at hobbygamingnetwork.libsyn.com. On Spotify, search for either Hobby Gaming Network or the 417 Gamer podcast. Also listen through our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. And finally, we also post a YouTube version on the 417 Gamer YouTube channel. The best way for you to interact with the show is either through our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network or on Instagram at 417_gamer_podcast. Now to the 7. The 7 in the 417 Gamer podcast, we're talking about 7 of our favorite second edition games. I'm going to start us off with Descent Second Edition. This is published by... I had it. Actually, I didn't have it. Here it is. It is published by Fantasy Flight Games. Of course it is. It's designed by Daniel Clark, Corey Knizia, Adam Sadler, and Kevin Wilson. There is tons of artists on this. So Descent Journeys in the Dark came out in 2012. That's the second edition. The third edition came out a few years ago, and we still haven't played it. But Descent Journeys in the Dark is a dungeon crawler as a board game. You're going to open a book. It's going to give you a scenario. You're going to put out the tiles. And in the base game, it's one versus many. One person's going to be the bad. They're going to have some cards. They're going to play stuff and make their shadow dragons and their goblins and trolls and skeleton archers and elementals go after you, while you're going to play, the mage, the fighter, the shapeshifter, the element controlist, the duelist, all these people. You're going to try and get through the level. Sometimes it's snatch this thing and get out. Sometimes it's protect this NPC that moves only a couple squares each turn. Very fun. I like it. I especially like it whenever you play the Descent Second Edition app. It controls the big bads for you.
Nice.
But this is currently buried in our closet in our office.
Yeah. We need to get it out. I'm excited.
We do. Our number 6 is
Patchwork Halloween. It is not, as far as I'm concerned, too much different from the regular Patchwork, but things like instead of buttons you get googly eyes, and it's just, would you call it, it's not necessarily a reskin.
Well, it is a reskin because they put the holiday edition on it. Oh, we also have Christmas edition. I forgot about that when we were talking about in the topic. But this was the first one to they ran it through a computer program to reweight all the pieces. In the first Patchwork, there's a couple pieces that were far superior to other pieces. You had that one that looked like a cross that was 0 buttons and 3 time. And it was a large piece that covered a lot of your board. And there, at a certain point that Catherine and I were playing that every now and again, and whoever got that piece, 7 out of 10 times was going to win that. So it was that there was a game of chicken that we would play to who could keep on passing until they could get to that piece. And then you and I started doing that too. And then the Halloween redid the cost on, I think, about 10 pieces. So, number 5.
Sushi Go Party.
So we love our Sushi Go. But Sushi Go Party, I would consider a second edition because you can play just regular Sushi Go with it. But now it has enough pieces to play all the way up to 8 players. And it has a ton of different items to where you can make it a bit more complicated, or you can make it even easier. The one complicated piece on regular Sushi Go, in my opinion, was the chopsticks. And a lot of people, newbies that hadn't been gamers, would take the chopsticks and just ignore them. But the chopsticks were a nice piece to where play chopsticks on a future hand, you take them and you get to play 2 cards. Well, in the party game, you don't even have to have the chopsticks in there. You can put more tempura in there. You can put, they have pudding, they have green tea, they have several different things you can throw in there. What's our number 4?
Twilight Imperium 4.
Yeah. So I played TI.
Which is not a second edition, it's a 4th edition.
Yeah, it's a 4th edition.
In the name.
So Twilight Imperium 3 I had, which is by Christian T. Peterson, published by Fantasy Flight Games. And then Twilight Imperium 4 cleans quite a bit up. And it took TI3 that was probably a 8 to 10 hour game and makes it to where it's like a 6 to 8 hour game. And I know you're like, oh, well, you cleaned up 2 hours. 2 hours makes a big difference.
I would think so.
Yeah. So this is designed by Dane Batrami, Corey Konecka, and Christian T. Peterson. This is published by Fantasy Flight Games, and the artist is Scott Schoenberg. Twilight Imperium 4th Edition. Megatol Rex is the center planet in the galaxy. It was kind of the cultural hub of the galaxy. It has fallen. But now all of the other vying races are trying to capture it and claim their spot as a controlling race in there. So everybody takes a different alien race and they go around the galaxy trying to conquer different planets, stake their claim, complete objectives. It's a great game. What's our next number?
Number 3 is Machikoro 2.
Now, this one is so far up here because we had Machikoro fatigue. We played Machikoro and it's cute, but we're like, do we need it?
I never liked it.
You didn't. I kind of did. I like the rolling. I like the getting stuff, but it plays too long.
It was too long, and it always seemed like whoever was winning was just winning by so much. It just wasn't fun.
Right. So Machikoro changes that a little bit. Where in Machikoro, right, the first one, you have these landmarks you're trying to build. But once you build a landmark, you have a power. And then if everybody else keeps on rolling not good, or not, and they can't get anything going, and you start getting powers because of all your landmarks, you can zoom ahead. Well, in Machikoro 2, they've changed that. If somebody builds a landmark, it's a power that now everybody has.
Yeah, it evens the playing field a little more.
And the Machikoro landmarks get... They start bumping up in their price depending on if it's your first landmark, second, or third landmark.
And I felt like it also played a little bit quicker.
Because there's only 3 landmarks.
So it was just, overall, they fixed all the things I didn't like. So I would absolutely play Machikoro 2.
And Machikoro is designed by Maso Sugunuma. Artist is Noboru Hata. And it is published by Pandasaurus Games. Our number 2 is...
Viticulture.
Yep, Viticulture, the Essential Edition. So the original Viticulture was a Kickstarter game. and you're making wine in a vineyard that you've inherited. And then they had to make a second edition, basically, because they came up with the idea with the grande worker. In viticulture, just like any other worker placement game, when you place your workers out, nobody can go to that spot. But there's only... Because you have to plant, because you have to harvest, you have to crush the grapes to do all the stuff, there are some rounds where you can be frozen out of almost all the stuff you need to do, but that's where the grande worker came in. You have a big worker that can set off to the side of a space that's already been taken. You can still take that action with your grande. So you have to plan him accordingly. It took it from a fine worker placement to a really good worker placement. Then they have the Tuscany expansion. And some of that Tuscany expansion stuff was so good that it felt like it had to be in the base game. So then they came out with the Essential Edition, which is kind of a third edition, where it's the base Concordia. It's the base viticulture. They added the mamas and the papas from the Tuscany, and I think they also added the ability to sell fields. They put that in the base game, and it went from a really good to a great worker placement. And then when you put all the rest of the stuff from Tuscany, it's probably one of, if not my favorite worker placement.
Yeah.
And I will play it at 3 to 5 most times. Not 2. And not 6. I love it, though. Viticulture is designed by Jamie Stegmeyer and Alan Stone. The artists on it is Jacques Davis, David Montgomery, and Beth Sobel. And it is published by Stonemaier Games. Which leads us to our number 1, which is...
Great Western Trail, second edition.
So this is Ethan's fault. We played the Great Western Trail. I don't think you remember the first edition as much as I do.
I don't know that I've ever played the first edition.
So the original Great Western Trail was published by Stronghold Games. It is designed by Alexander Pfister, and it had 3 dusty cowboys on the front, and when you played it, you're going along on a cattle drive. You have a certain point where you can get money. And in the second edition, they're bandits that you can round up, because they kind of have wanted posters. They're like cattle rustlers, and you're picking them up and you get money. Or you can go clear hazards, and that gives you money. Or it might cost you money to pick up those hazards. But it clears out the hazards so people can get on through the Great Western Trail a little bit easier. The first edition had teepees, so it kind of felt like you were rounding up and clearing out the natives.
Very inappropriate.
So it wasn't the most appropriate. So when it went over to Capstone Games and Eggertspiel, they changed up the theme just a little bit to make it a little more palatable. I know some people would be like, well, that's the PC culture and blah, blah, blah. Maybe. But it's such a great game, I think so many people should play it. Because the new version is still designed by Alexander Pfister. It is published by Eggertspiel and Capstone Games. And the new artist is Chris Quillams. I think this is a fantastic game. I will play this at 2, and I will play this at 3 almost any time. 4 is going to be dependent on who we're playing with.
Sure.
But out of our other games out of our collection, these are some of our favorite second editions. Second or on, because, TI4.
Yes.
Viticulture 3.
Oh.
So what are some of your favorite game second or multiple editions? Let us know in the comments below, or go over to our Instagram at 417Gamer_podcast. But until next time, keep gaming.
In the 417.
Bye-bye.
And everywhere else.
Yeah.
The 417 Gamer podcast is recorded and produced by Andrea and Rick Bagwell. The intro music we use, Kind, Gentle, Beautiful Person, and the outro music, Making Up for Last Time, was created by Origami Replica. For links to our show notes, music, and guest links, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. Until next time, keep gaming in the 417.
MoonCityCon is back with the same price. MoonCityCon 2026 Ampere's Meeple Among Us is taking place August 14th through the 16th at the Hilton Garden Inn. Since last year we have seen prices increase in many places, but this year we are able to keep the 2025 price of $60. That's right, we are working to keep our badge pricing at last year's levels for you. Attendees ages 14 plus are $60. Veterans and active duty members badges are $50. Children under 14 are welcome with an accompanying parent or guardian. When will these badges go on sale? Saturday, February 28th, badges for MoonCityCon will go on sale. Over the next few weeks, we will be unveiling the prizes, merch, and more details as we lead up to badge sales opening on February 28th. Head over to Tabletop Events or use our website link, mooncitycon.com. We hope you enjoyed the Gamers Bingo from last year because we want to play another game with all of you. What does that mean? Stay tuned to find out. MoonCityCon 2026 Ampere's Meeple Among Us.